What if I told you that some of America's most terrifying urban legends aren't just stories? What if people are still encountering them, even today? From shadowy figures spotted on desolate, abandoned highways, to creatures whispered about in the quiet corners of small towns, these legends simply refuse to die. We're not just talking about campfire tales. We're talking about police reports, chilling eyewitness accounts, and baffling missing person cases that all seem to point to one terrifying truth. Some legends are born from very real fear. Tonight, we're peeling back the layers of the most disturbing urban legends from across the United States. These are the stories locals warn you never to investigate alone. The ones that make the hair on your arms stand up for no apparent reason. So, go ahead, dim the lights, lock the doors, and let's begin. Our first tale takes us to the dense, quiet forests of rural Wisconsin. For decades, locals have whispered about a tall, unnervingly thin, and faceless figure seen standing motionless between the trees. They say it watches, but you can never be sure what it's watching for. In the early 2000s, a string of disappearances plagued a small community. Children claimed they saw the tall man before their friends went missing. Of course, most adults dismissed these claims as childhood fantasies, the product of overactive imaginations. That is, until the adults started seeing it too. Hikers began to come out of the woods with strange stories. They reported experiencing missing time, where hours would vanish in what felt like minutes. Others found their digital photos were distorted, filled with static and elongated, shadowy figures lurking in the background that weren't there when the picture was taken. A common thread among them was a feeling of intense, irrational paranoia that would grip them as soon as they entered the woods. A feeling of being hunted. The most disturbing account comes from a park ranger, a man who had worked in those forests for over 20 years. He abruptly resigned from his post, and his colleagues said he was a changed man. He later confessed to a friend that for an entire week, every single night, he saw the figure watching him from the tree line just beyond his cabin. It never moved. It never made a sound. It just stood there, a silent sentinel in the dark. He couldn't take the psychological toll anymore. To this day, that forest remains a hotspot for unexplained sightings. Visitors still report that chilling sensation of being watched from just beyond their line of sight. And the legend of the slender figure continues to grow, rooted in the very soil of those woods. Next, we travel to the East Coast, to Prince George's County, Maryland. Here, deep in the wooded areas and lonely back roads, lurks a legend far older than most of the people who live there. They call it the Goat Man. The story varies depending on who you ask. Some say it was a scientist at a nearby agricultural research center, a man who experimented on goats until a failed experiment horribly fused him with one of his subjects. Others claim it's a far more ancient, primal entity. Whatever its origin, the descriptions are eerily similar. A monstrous creature, half man, half beast, with the legs and head of a goat, but the torso and rage of a human. It's said to roam the wooded areas, especially near old, forgotten railroad tracks. For years, It was a local dare for teenagers to venture into these areas at night, a test of courage. But many who went came back with stories that were anything but a joke. They reported hearing strange, metallic scraping sounds echoing through the trees, like an axe being dragged along the ground. This sound would often be followed by the heavy thud of footsteps, not four, but two crashing through the underbrush, getting closer and closer. One group of friends, seeking to debunk the myth, took a digital recorder with them. They set it up near an old tunnel and waited. They heard what they described as guttural growling nearby and fled in terror. When they got home and nervously reviewed the audio, they discovered something far more unsettling. The growls were there, clear as day, but layered just beneath the animalistic sounds, almost too quiet to hear, was what sounded like human speech, twisted and distorted, as if someone was trying to form words but couldn't. Local wisdom passed down through generations is simple and direct. If you re-out in the woods and you hear metal scraping on the pavement, don't look back. Just run. For our final legend, we hit the open road, the iconic Route 66. This stretch of highway, a symbol of American freedom and adventure, holds a dark and persistent ghost story. The vanishing hitchhiker. Countless drivers, truckers, and travelers over the years have reported the same haunting encounter. They'll be driving along a lonely stretch of the road, often at night, when they see a young woman standing on the shoulder, thumb out, asking for a ride. She's often described as wearing simple, slightly old-fashioned clothes, appearing lost and distressed. Feeling sympathetic, drivers pull over and offer her a lift. She gets in, usually the back seat, and gives an address a few miles down the road. She's quiet, polite, and seems sad. The driver might try to make small talk, but she rarely says much. Then, a few minutes later, the driver will glance in the rearview mirror to check on her, only to find the back seat completely empty. She has vanished without a sound, without opening a door. All that's left behind is a distinct chill in the air where she was sitting, and sometimes a small, wet handprint on the seat or the window. The truly chilling part is the consistency. Police departments along different parts of Route 66 have records of these reports going back to the 1940s. The description of the woman is almost always the same. Same clothes, same sad demeanor, same quiet request, and the same silent, impossible disappearance from a moving car. Some who look into the story even claim the address she gives is for a nearby cemetery. The vanishing hitchhiker has become as much a part of Route 66 as its diners and dusty landscapes. A spectral resident who has been trying to get home for nearly a century. If these stories unsettled you, made you check over your shoulder, then know that this is only the beginning. The world is full of unexplained mysteries and legends that cling to the shadows of our towns and cities. Subscribe to Mystery and Myth Storytime for more true horror, deep dives into American urban legends, and investigations into the unexplained. And make sure you turn on notifications, because the next story we uncover might be happening a lot closer to home than you think. Thanks for watching.